I'm your host, Sarah Baus, and welcome to Attainable Podcast. Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Attainable Podcast. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I'm so glad that you're here. And today I have with me Lili Bewley, and we are going to be talking all about dating, which it's great. I needed to bring an expert on here for dating, because for any of you who know my dating life or lack thereof, know that I had my first boyfriend when I was 15. It was a long-term relationship, meaning for that time it was like 3 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then Justin and I started dating, and now we're married. So I don't know a lot. Lily's gonna come on, and
Okay.
she is actually an expert here. So Lily, do you mind giving a little bit of a background on who you are and what you do and why you are such a good person to talk about this?
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm excited to have this conversation today. I love talking about love. I love talking about dating. I call dating Trigger Town, because I'm sure you have friends, Sarah, who are out there dating, and there are triggers left and right all over the place. And I used to be that person that told that story to myself of dating sucks. And my going through my experience and finding my epic love that I have now, and going through the process of really, really, really horrible and unfulfilling relationships, and not really knowing how to get this like magnificent love that I knew that I deserved, but I couldn't quite seem to like actualize it in real life. That's why I'm here, is really to help women through this process. And I always like to say that it's not that dating sucks. Like I used to be that person that was like, dating sucks. There aren't any emotionally available men out there. That would be the thing that I would talk about my friends and my family. Like there would hardly be any really good conversations around dating, like the subject and the topic of dating. But here's my challenge to that, is that it's not that dating sucks. It's that if you're listening, if you're having this types of conversations in your life, it's not that dating sucks. It's that your experience with dating sucks. So the question is how to change your experience. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah. Whenever I'm talking to my friends, I love hearing about dating life. And it's one of those things that I'm a raging extrovert. So the idea of dating, I'm in a very happy relationship, obviously, but the idea of dating really fascinates me. And I think that sounds like one of the most fun things in the world, because going into a room full of people I don't know is like my dream. Like I absolutely love that. So to me, like going on multiple dates and meeting all these people, like I'm like, that sounds so fun. And you could go in, have fun with it. I'm like, make a fake personality. Who cares? But my friends are like, no, this sucks so bad. And I feel so bad because I'm like, I fail to see how this could be. Like, even for a sucky date, like I'm like, that's a good story. Like it's good for the plot line, And they're like, no, this sucks. Which
they're like, this is my life, Sarah.
yeah, I know. They're like, this isn't your TV show. This is my life. I'm literally trying to like nail one down, and
Yeah.
you're not helping.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
They're like, I want what you have.
yes, which I feel very, very fortunate for that. But yeah, you've got a really interesting breakdown of archetypes for dating. Can you walk us through that?
This is the juicy part, I think, about what I
Yes.
do. What I love, what I do is that, so all of what I teach today, I've been in the game for a minute, and all of what I teach today is everything that I've been through. I'm not the type of personal development teacher or anything like um, that wants to impart my wisdom on you. What I really love to do in taking women through this process is that I really like to help them find their wisdom, their intuition. A lot of women are detached from their intuition today, like they don't know what's good for them or what's bad. How long, like I was in the type of pattern relationships in the past where I would stay too long. Just stay in a relationship for too long when it was really not serving me, like I was dying inside, spiritually, mentally, physically, all those things. And so I always like to kind of say this about the feminine dating archetypes. And if anybody's listening, you can go and take your archetype. It's a quiz at datingarchetype.com. It's a lot of fun. It takes like 3 minutes, but you can reveal your blocks to love and find your true love match with that quiz. And this is everything that I've been through. And I used to shame myself a lot about the patterns that I used to see in relationship, like the debilitating and toxic patterns that I used to put, the situations I used to put myself into, the things that got me frustrated and I didn't understand. And what I started to see is this pattern. And then when I started to work with women, and after like hundreds of coaching hours of working with women, um, I started to see the same pattern with them, and what these archetypes are, these different phases that I went through to really get to this point of what I like to call the magnetic woman. And the magnetic woman is the woman that I really aspire to be in my life, not because I try hard to be, but it's just who I am.
Yeah.
The aura that I bring, the energy that I bring. And this is like, the magnetic woman isn't just like, not only does she magnetize love, but she magnetizes, it's just a whole vibe, in her life through opportunities and work. And when things really don't feel so hard and they come to her.
Yeah.
And like me listening to myself talking about this, and me 5 years ago would have thought I was crazy. So if you're listening to this and you're like, how the heck do I do that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I just want to say that like the point, like if you're looking for like a love, if you're looking for like a long-term love and committed love, and I like to call it epic love, that we all have this ability inside of ourselves, right? But there's these things that are blocking us, things that happened to us in the past, the way that society has us thinking about love. There's just a lot of stuff and a lot of noise um, with inside of ourselves about how we relate to love, the patterns that we have, and all this stuff. And so basically that's where it came from. That's where these archetypes came from. And I don't know, would you want to go into them? Like how,
Yeah,
like how
I
you
have a
were?
question. I want to go
Yeah,
into them. Like, I want you to
yeah,
explain them.
totally.
But
Yeah.
briefly, I had a question based on just your introduction. So, when you say that a lot of women are detached from their intuition,
Mhm.
which I think is actually a really interesting way to put it, because again, we can always look back and be like, why the fuck did I do that? Like that doesn't, I wouldn't even do that now. How did I not see, hindsight 2020, whatever.
Sure.
And do you have a theory on why that is, that women are detached from their intuition? Or it sounds like, something that we have it and then we lose it and we have to come back to it based on what you're
Mm.
explaining. Is that, do you
I
believe
mean, the way
that?
that I think, yeah, that's a great question, Sarah. Like the way that I think about it is that we were born with, a wisdom inside of ourselves. I feel like that if you want to get really deep, I feel like that we were born pure. We were born, kind of like a blank slate. And I think just through our lives, like I said, we learn things. We learn how to be. We learn, like for example, in my family when I was growing up, and I do, if you can't tell, like I go pretty deep in my healing containers. Like my therapist said I should be a therapist, but I said, no, girl, I don't want to go back to school. So here I
Yeah.
am, like doing my thing. Um, and like the environment that I grew up in, for example, was very like a dominant, submissive type of environment. That was the type of love relationship that I was modeled. And like I didn't learn the communication skills. I didn't learn how to listen to myself. I didn't learn how to speak up for myself because it wasn't safe in that environment. And so what happens is when we grow up and we go, we know at this point, like most of the women that I work with have been like doing some type of personal development for like 6 months or more. They know that they deserve better in real life. Like they know in their head, like they maybe like written a letter to their soulmate. They, really try to call him in. They know some qualities that they want, but they can't seem to get that in real life. And that's I feel like that's where the intuition piece really comes in, because in my experience, my intuition doesn't come from my head. It comes from how I listen to myself, my heart, my body, how it feels, because I was so um for lack of a better term, like confused inside myself, like, with this healing that I've done with me, like there's a lot of clarity. Like I'll meet someone, especially when I was dating and on the apps, which I have been there, and we can talk about that too. But I would, after doing some healing and learning how to listen to myself, I think like learning your intuition again it's a skill, it's a skill. And that's what that's what I've learned. That's what I teach women to do. But like, instead of dating and like waiting 3 months to figure out, oh, like I could maybe make it happen with this guy, and then really leaning in and learning to listen to your intuition and different cues. And it's not just red flags, because I think red flags happen in your head. They don't happen in your heart and your body. Is like maybe shortening that time, like to a month and a half. Like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like there's some like some values aren't sticking around, or like
And that's
sticking to
interesting because there is like this thing going around. I mean, I think it's been going around for a while, but I'm seeing more TikToks about it, to be honest.
that. Mhm.
About what is it? A guy will know if he wants to date you. It's something like by the second date or by the end of the first date. Like, I mean, something like really soon. So I think
Mm,
it's interesting that you are like, hey, like maybe bring that timeline a little bit. And apparently there is a
yeah.
trend where men have a much shorter timeline. Like they just kind of know. That's a generalization, of course, but
Yeah. I mean, I personally think it's pretty, like, based on my experience, like, I think it's pretty soon. Like,
yeah.
my body, like, okay, so I've been through a lot of shit in my life, done a lot of healing. My last toxic relationship was about 8 years on and off. And when I'm telling you, like, scary, it was scary. Like, I had to get a restraining order, shit like that. And going from there to today, what I can say is, like, with my epic love partner that I have right now, is that I did know, like, pretty much off the bat. Here's the problem. Here, I think I just want to put this little caveat in there. And I think men do know. I think our body knows who to be safe with and who not to. But that's only if, and I'm going to put this caveat in here, because this may hurt women that hear this, right? Like, oh, I need to know right off the bat. The problem is that sometimes we as women push to know, right? We want to know. We want to control the outcome. We want to control the man on the other end of, of the dating relationship. What we can do is learn to, I call it our dating nervous system. I don't know if you talk about like the nervous system here on the podcast, but
Mm-mm.
our dating nervous system, the way that we can regulate our nervous system, like not being in fight or flight, not being in freeze, not being in like people pleasing mode, the way that we regulate our nervous system has a direct relationship to the quality of our dating life. And that is a lot of the work that I do with women, is kind of trying to regulate within themselves so they can listen. Like, if we hear this like on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and be like, oh, you're going to know right off the bat, and you aren't regulated in your nervous system, then you're going to make some bad fucking decisions.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to hear the female archetypes as well, the dating archetypes. And would
Okay.
you say that are these I guess would you say these are applied amongst like all relationships, heterosexual, homosexual, any of those, or do you think this is more in like the
Good question.
heterosexual typical dynamic?
Yeah. That's a great question. I work mostly with women seeking men, for sure.
Because
Um,
that's the most problems.
yeah. Well, I don't know, because I haven't
Yeah.
experienced that. Like, I really try to
Kidding.
coach on. No, yeah. Like, actually, I think like the relationship dynamics probably are pretty similar, but I'm not quite sure. That's not my area of expertise.
So
But
we'll keep this just for context. So
yeah, for sure.
typically women dating men.
Yeah. Thank
Got
you.
it. Okay. Let's
Yeah.
go into the
Yes. Okay. So,
archetypes.
all right. So like I said, these are all kind of like foundationally, these were phases for me. What happens is, like, archetype is like, an identity
Mhm.
sometimes, right? Like, it's a place where a woman can get stuck in their dating process, or just relationships. So again, like, if anyone's listening, they can go to datingarchetype.com.
I'm so ready for people to like have their like that's me moment. I'm so ready.
It happens. And for you out there listening, I love you. So we'll start with the chill woman. So the chill woman was probably, for me, the phase that I spent the most amount of time in my life. The chill woman is super familiar with anxiety and overwhelm when she's dating. Lots of overthinking happening for the chill woman. And this, whether she's met a man in real life or she's just chatting with him, and they kind of have like a good connection, and she gets connected in some way, or a part of her gets connected in some way, that overwhelming anxiety and overthinking tends to flare up. Like if she hasn't heard from him, like in 24, 48, 72 hours, she's checking her phone. She's seeing if the text has been read, all of that stuff. I love you, girl. Everything's good. We got this. Sadly, the chill woman tends to get ghosted a lot, and she doesn't understand why. She may be like a pretty she probably is like a pretty intelligent, maybe successful woman. And she doesn't really understand, like she knows how to communicate, but why is she attracting these men that don't want to communicate with her? Do you know anybody? And we're not done yet with the chill woman. I can see it on your face. You're like,
I'm like, all these things. I'm just
yeah.
thinking about my friends who have told me these exact things, and I'm like, God. So, okay, well, you keep going because I think
Okay,
you're gonna
so
explain my question.
sometimes the chill woman tends to have sex pretty quickly after meeting the man. And this is a sticky subject because sometimes the chill woman is like, well, I don't want a relationship, so I just want to go, have sex, which is great. And is that really the true wisdom that you want in your life? Because what tends to happen sometimes is that the chill woman or part of the chill woman will get attracted to him, and it'll be just this whole cycle over and over and over again. She tends to attract men who just want to hang out and chill, which she normally says yes to. She really just wants love. She wants connection. She's like, she'll like kind of coach herself and be like, oh, let's just see how this goes. Let's just go have fun. But it tends to go south, again, when she starts to get attached. And that's just true. That's just the way it is. In the past, a chill woman has complained in the past of not being seen and heard in relationships. Typically, and I say this with love, it's that she's not really seeing and hearing herself, her needs and her desires. It's hard for her to speak up for her desires. And that's basically it. And the chill woman wants to know that people are going to be there and just not leave.
Okay, let's keep going because I want to make sure that we can dive into each and maybe some help for each, like advice on a different day. But I want to make sure that we get through them.
Okay, so the fortress woman is the next one. That's kind of the next phase that I went to after a really bad breakup. And the fortress woman has, like I like to say, has a wall the size of the Great Wall of China around her heart. She's been hurt by love before. The only way to defend her heart is to not let someone in. That's the fortress woman. And I say this with love, that she will tell people, and she tells herself that she feels fine. When I was the fortress woman, I imagined a life like on my vision board. I would like put a big ass mansion on there with like 1,000 dogs and no partner, like just solo and animals. That's it. Is the fortress woman. If she's dating, the fortress woman tends to find fault with the other person really quickly. Like, she's quick to judge, quick to break it off, block or delete. When I was a fortress woman, I would immediately delete someone that used your incorrectly, like like that got grammar.
Valid.
Yeah.
Valid. I will absolutely valid. It's good.
And I'm not, like this is my experience, and I'm saying this with love, but what I'm saying is that I wasn't safe enough inside myself to allow a man to show me who he was. I just judged him by the way he spelled his words. And which could, that we can definitely go down that road of like education and whatever and all this stuff. And I would find that out eventually, I would find a mismatch in values eventually. So that was me as a fortress woman. So with the fortress woman, there's a part of her that doesn't want to be alone for sure. But there is a stronger part of her that just doesn't want to feel the pain of opening up her heart to love. So that's a fortress one.
Ooh. Okay.
Next is the goddess woman. So the goddess woman is typically the woman that I coach. I normally coach the chill woman and the goddess woman. Fortress woman hasn't really got to that point yet where she will ask for help. But if you do, fortress woman, I'm proud of you. So the goddess woman is super confused by love. She's the one that has done a lot of personal growth work, develop personal fulfillment. She may have gone to therapy. the mismatch for the goddess woman is that her outward perception of herself, like her Instagram or her TikTok, is very different than her experience with love and dating. Like on the outside, she has everything together. She, has this beautiful life, but when it comes to dating, she just keeps seeing these patterns, these like self-defeating patterns in dating. So like there's definitely a mismatch between what's seen on the outside and what's happening with her on the inside. She doesn't really understand dating. Like I said, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration about dating and love. And this is the point where she's done a lot of work. She knows what kind of man she wants. But again, like the thing that keeps showing up in real life isn't actualizing. Like it's not really coming to fruition. The hard thing about the goddess woman is that she knows in her head what to do. She knows a lot of really amazing things about herself, but there's a difference between what she knows that she should be doing and the behaviors that she's having in real life, especially when it comes to dating. Vulnerability is really, really hard for the goddess woman. Like goddess woman has a very special relationship with control and perfectionism, basically. Yeah. And the goddess woman feels like always better than the men that she's attracting. Like they can't think.
Interesting.
Yeah, these people, I can see it on your face.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
Well, whoever you're thinking about, I love you. So she feels, like I said, she feels better than she's done a lot of work, than the men she's attracting. And she tends to go into, like, if she gets kind of further down the relationship path with these men, she tends to go into being their teacher, their coach, or their therapist, or their mom, not their lover. Yes. So that's the goddess.
Whoa. That's wow. Yikes.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
At this point, I've had thousands of women take the quiz. So
yeah.
You're not alone out there, guys.
No, we're gonna have the quiz so easily linked on the show notes and on our Instagram, guys. Like, don't worry, you can find out. How many archetypes are there?
So yeah, there's one more, and
Yes.
that's the magnetic woman that I was talking about.
Yes.
So the magnetic woman, like I said, is what I aspire to be, like at least 80% of the time, because ain't nobody perfect. I make mistakes too. And my clients really want this magnetic woman energy, this aura. And the magnetic woman is if you've ever been to like a party, I'm sure you have, or like the grocery store, and like a woman walks in the room, and like all of the energy is kind of sucked out of the room, like all the attention is to her. And it's not because of what she looks like, but it's like the way that she has her shoulders set, her neck, the way that just kind of she carries herself. And when she speaks, the magnetic woman, the words behind her voice are they're not strong, they're not overly forceful, but there's a resonance to them where you can hear how clear she is about who she is, what she wants, her discernment, like there's just this energy. I'm sure you've met a woman like this before.
Yeah.
There honestly, like, there aren't a lot of women out there, but when I see them, you can see them in the grocery store.
100%.
Like you just see that energy. So the magnetic woman she knows who she is and what she wants. She honors herself with dating boundaries and guidelines and filters, and she sticks with them, especially when she's dating, because that's a hard thing for both the chill and the goddess woman. When she messes up, there's a lot of self-compassion, a lot of love, that happens, because she will mess up. What's awesome about the magnetic woman is that she knows that she's worthy. She knows that she loves herself, but in her internal worth, and her magnetism has moved from her head to her body. So like, I always like to say, like, most of the time when I'm in that zone, I feel like a lightning rod, because it's just like, I feel so clear, so attached to who I am and what I'm doing. So attached to like purpose and love. And, I use the word God, or you can use universe, or whatever it is. In dating, the magnetic woman recognizes pretty quickly, like really, really, not really quickly, but I think really quickly in the terms of like traditional dating, who's good for her or who is not. And she starts to learn, like we were talking about, to listen to our intuition. The magnetic woman doesn't idolize people when she's dating, idolize men, put them on pedestals, but she's able to, her dating nervous system is pretty regulated. So she's able to clearly see and observe and receive the person on the other end for who he is, and then be able to make a decision as far as whether, they line up on values. So that's a magnetic woman.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is so interesting. One, I want to check on time. We need to get wrapped up in the next 60 seconds, correct?
I can be just a little bit late, so maybe 2 minutes.
2 minutes would be great for a
Okay.
rapid fire and then an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, that is fascinating. There's so much more to talk about with that. I would love to have you back so that we could unpeel that more. I did want to get these are super fun. Like I have a couple like rapid fire, like dating hot takes. This is actually like conversations that I've been having with some of my friends, and they're very polarizing. And so these are fun. I wanted to get your opinion on these. And so okay, first of all, thinking yes again, like more like masculine feminine relationship. Who gets, you walk into a restaurant, who gets the booth?
Who gets the what?
Who gets the booth? If there is a chair, like if there's a table, and it's like the booth is on the wall, there's the table and then there's the chair, who gets the booth?
Okay, because this is rapid fire, I'm gonna do what my preference is.
Yes, all your preference, like of course it's different for everybody.
My preference is the chair that's facing the room. Because this is me, y'all. So judge me as you want, but I want my man to protect me, so I want him to be able to see the room.
Interesting. Yeah, my take is booth is for the girlies. My ass is cuter than yours, therefore it will be space.
Okay, let's go.
It's like so passenger princess energy. I'm like, like we'll go walk in, like Joseph looks at me, and that's my husband's name, and he'll look at me, and I'm like, thanks. I'm just gonna sit my pretty behind here. Okay,
yes,
next. So, okay, I think you kind of interesting. Okay, so based on what you just said, sit on opposite ends of the table or sit next to each other?
Ooh.
You've
Depends
got big opinions on this.
Yeah, depends on the vibe. I mean, sometimes we'll do date night and we do same side, and sometimes we don't.
Oh my God. Joseph and I are those people that it is always like, unless if we are next to, if like we're going to dinner with somebody else, we will sit on the same side. But that is literally the only, if it's just us, no, you go to the other end of that table, and we will see people like, it's literally like, I think of it like teenagers dating, or like 2 14-year-olds or something, even if they're grown people sitting next to each other, and we will side eye and cringe. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, that is totally your prerogative. Like, go off. I will say, we are looking at you and judging.
And judging the fuck out of you.
Judging the fuck out of you. But I'm like, part of me is like, oh my God, I totally whisper, secret, so sweet. But then another part of me is like, ew.
Yeah, for me, it just depends on the vibe. Honestly, I let him lead. Sometimes he'll be like, I want to sit next to you. I'm like, all right, then come on.
No, that's good. No, I did not realize how. Actually, I literally haven't found anybody that agrees with me. So I think I say it's polarizing. It's just from us. So perfection.
I bet there's somebody out there.
I'm sure there's somebody. Okay, last one. Movies. Is going to the movies a good first date or not?
Ooh, I would say no.
I would say no. I'm like, that's literally why even bother going. You're not going to learn anything about that person.
No, I'm too deep. I'm too much of a deep.
I need to talk. I'm like, I don't know. Like
most women, I mean, for real, I think most women do. And if anyone is listening out there, feel free to speak up for your shit, man.
Yeah.
If you want to go on a movie beat, you can say something like, like, I would really love the time to talk to you and get to know each other. Can we have coffee instead, or something, something, like
something where
what you need.
Your attention is on me.
Ask for what you need. Yeah.
Screen. That was actually, that was nice. We can end that with like a little piece of encouragement and advice. Thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to be here. This was fascinating. I know that everybody's going to be running to this quiz. I kind of want to take it, even though I'm married. I'm like, I'm just curious.
I bet. Yeah. It still applies. Still applies to people in relationships.
Where can people find you if they want to hear more from you, or even work with you? Where do they go looking?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. You're amazing. The quiz is at datingarchetype.com, and then I'm on Instagram mostly at lilybewley.com or Lili Bewley. Sorry.
Awesome. We'll have everything
Yeah.
linked and everything. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please go follow Lili, go encourage her and send all your love. And then if you did love this episode, please share it as well on all your socials, and please tag both of us so that we can shout you out all the great things. And yeah, I hope you guys love this episode as much as I did, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.